He's thinking about shooting from distance here. Cornell Suge. It comes out to Joe Edwards. It's in! It's in!
Gibson has a little bit of space. He goes long looking for Gray inside the area. First time shot. That's outstanding. Into the feet of Bundu. He's got Andre Gray wide. He counts it in! Oh, there's a slip there from Edmondson, which allows Bundu to get inside the penalty area. He flashes it across goal, and Argyle are back in front. Darko JB the scorer. Hardy steps forward, strikes it, scores!
Towards middle, Hardy tries to pick up. It was Mustafa Bundu into the bottom corner. Bundu over the top. Hardy's onside. Ryan Hardy. Houghton. Nice touch from Hardy. Bundu into the box. Going to get out from under his feet. Was he held back? It doesn't matter.
Inside the Sheffield United half. Here's Tijani with a strike. Driving towards the Coventry City penalty area. He's wanting support. He gets it from Hardy. That's number 2.
Into space on this near side, the left for Barley Mumba to run onto the ball. Cross in low, and there's the finish.
Well, how on earth do you sum up the 2024-25 season? Well, that's our job, actually, over the next 45 minutes or so. I'm joined by Rob McNichol and Aaron Cusack in the end of season review show. A season, gents, like no other, because I'm not sure we've ever had a season where we've had such incredible highs as we've seen there. And ultimately, it all ends in a huge disappointment, Rob, with relegation.
Yeah, it looked pretty good on that selection of clips, didn't it,
Yeah,
really?
we made it look good.
I think it's one of those, we were talking about it the other day in the office, and it feels there were days like the day when Wayne Rooney first arrived that feel like they were yesterday, and it feels very, very familiar that happened. And there's also games earlier in the season that feel like a lifetime ago. It's been quite a set of ups and downs, a lot of conflicting emotions, obviously ending in ultimate disappointment. But you're right, there's been some bits in there that we will remember for a very, very long time, for a good thing, for a good way.
Yeah, and Aaron, you've been here on Argyle TV the whole way through this season, and we've kind of pored over every single game and tried to dissect it. And obviously, the feeling right now is the sort of anger, it's the hurt, it's the sadness of a 2-year stay in the Championship coming to an end, which is completely understandable. How do you look at the season as a whole?
Well, it just a little bit conflicting, really, in that you could, towards the back end, you could definitely start to see something of value that, had time been on our side, would have ultimately meant we'd have kept our, place in the league. It was almost like optimistic apprehension, wasn't it? In the sense that everyone was a little bit unsure of the appointment of Rooney, but there were glimpses in the early stage that were returned some really good results against good teams. And then we had that middle area where it was a bit of a slump. And then you could start to see this new tenure coming to the fore under Muslic, but so very, I suppose, undulating in terms of emotions.
Many people, it's a bit of a football cliche, do say that a cup run maybe kicks people into gear. And that certainly happened for Argyle.
Number 21.
Plymouth Argyle.
Solanola helps it on to Whittaker. And Morgan Whittaker come up with that moment of magic that might make all the difference. He can! Sensational!
It's a hook and over his shoulder. It's a penalty.
Yeah.
Hits the arms of Elliott. Hands on hips. Hardy steps forward, strikes it, scores. Big smile on your face, boss. How can you sort of sum up what's just happened today?
Very difficult. Do I have to do it now immediately?
We have to do it right now immediately.
Magical day for us. Playing the most famous cup in the world, the FA Cup, having Liverpool here at the home park. It's huge and it's big already.
Sarnola clips it in towards Sullivan. Can you believe it? Argyle take the lead against Manchester City. It's Maxime Sarnola. Full time at the Etihad Stadium and bringing the curtain down on Argyle's beautiful adventure. It is Manchester City 3, Plymouth Argyle 1.
Well, it was the words of Miran Muslic, magical adventure, and boy was it. I mean, to think in a season that has had so many lows that we've been talking about, you know, you can see 10 goals in a week, you lose the opening day game of the season 4-0, you get beaten by 5 3 times, you get relegated, and yet your first away win of the season is at Brentford, who at the time had the best home record in the Premier League. You knock the soon-to-be Premier League champions out of the FA Cup, and you push Manchester City a mighty long way.
I mean, madness, isn't it? There's so little you can say to actually rationalise anything that you've just said about that cup run. It was astonishing. You have to completely divorce it. You have to completely and utterly forget about the league season, in the same way that, you know, none of us are quite old enough to have remembered the 1984 Cup run. You hear about it, the games against West Brom and Derby and Watford. It's always a little bit of a subplot that we weren't very good in the league that year, and it ended up that, you know, Johnny Hall left because of the league form, and that's how things, I wouldn't say tailed off, but no one really thinks about that now. You think about Watford and Villa Park, and there will be, oh yeah, we got relegated that season, but you'll never ever forget if you were there for any of those games. It was a wonderful experience on all three fronts. And I think whenever we're on TV, especially against a Premier League side, FA Cup, I just don't want us to look terrible. Like, imagine if that Burnley game had been in the FA Cup for a wide audience. Everyone we'd have seen down the street, that's your team, is it? But we played against the champions, and Liverpool have absolutely walked the Premier League, by the way. And I know that wasn't their complete first team, but it was still a pretty decent side. And we gave them a game, and we did that. And to stand as tall as we did I think Man City had a better team out at the Etihad than Liverpool did here. Yeah. And how long was it until they equalised? Just before half time, was it? Like, but they were just brilliant experiences against, and it wasn't just, you know, Brentford are a decent Premier League team, but the other two are world giants, and we got to experience that. I'll never forget that.
And it was quite an amazing end to the season. If you look at those fixtures, like I said, they're all sides that you'd expect to be at the top of the table and were. You pick up 4 wins from your last 7. 12 points. I think the form table going into that last game of the season had us joint 8th. It was just too much to do at the end of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, they ran out of time, didn't they? They ran out of time. But where people will feel aggrieved is the calibre of the performances as well against these teams. It wasn't as if all of the wins were smash and grabs. You know, they were pre-planned. They were administered in the right way. Miron said there they were happy with the application and the togetherness of the players, and to take points off teams who, were looking to go. Well, we were looking to go in the Premier League, and Sheffield United, who are trying to get into the playoffs. Teams like Coventry, who did get into the playoffs. They had lots to play for. And they came here and we humbled them. And for me, I thought the performance against Preston was outstanding, considering the news that they had received 20 minutes earlier. And that's also testament to the Green Army that got behind them during the warm-up. Could have easily had turned on them, but they didn't. They showed their qualities by getting behind the team, and Argyle were fantastic in that first half. And that, from a psychological perspective, that must have been really hard to kind of get up for a game as well as they did.
Yeah, agreed. I was there. That's one of the moments of the season for me that I happened to be. It's just a quirk of coincidence. I happened to be at pitch side that I'm not normally at that time, and the players were finishing their warm up and went to the Green Army. 1,500 of them or so in the ground at that point, I would have thought. And it was the ovation that they got. It was no different to when we would have done it at Man City. Do you know what I mean? And just this noise and this roar, and I was like, it was a bit of goosebumps on that one for me. That was a wonderful moment. And the players, you can't help but react to that, I think. Yeah. But I remember saying, I was on match report duty. I didn't want to write a match report. So I certainly wouldn't have wanted to go out and play football. And they did it, and they played well. These kind of shows, these kind of review shows, they naturally, once you get to the end, start to go towards next season, don't they? And you start to think towards how we're going to be next season. And things like the run-in, not just the results in when we needed something, but the results when, or the performances when things were struggling or things were beyond us, got to give you hope for next year.